Today, I want to talk to you about why you should be using talent assessments. And we use talent assessments quite a bit in our work with CEOs and their teams, and also with some of their leaders and organizations. We actually do a lot of different kind of assessments. We do company assessments that talks about and shows the overall health and growth of the company. We do climate and culture assessments talking about the workplace attitude that is going on. We do 360 assessment. We do a lot of different kinds of assessments, but today I want to talk about talent assessments. And there are a bunch of different kinds of these. We do a DISC assessment, and there are a lot of different kinds of DISCs. Over the years, people have taken a DISC assessment from somebody else, and then they've taken a DISC assessment from us, and they've tried to compare the two. That's one of the things that people always want to do, is they want to compare assessments. And all assessments are not created equal. So you've got to be careful doing that, because it's in the design of the tool and what the tool is being designed to show you. But DISC is a behavioral assessment, and just about all of the ones that you've probably been involved with or have heard of, they all measure behavior. So the Myers-Briggs, the StrengthsFinder, the True Colors, the DISC. Years ago, I started out with a company called Wilson Learning. They have an assessment with driver, analytic, expressive, and amiable. So they had 4 quadrants also, and that's a behavioral assessment also. And so behavior is fairly easy and simple to measure. But then we also have talent assessments that go much deeper than behavior. And I would never, on a higher level executive or on someone who is trying to really focus in on their goals and what they're trying to accomplish is very important to them, or they're looking for some advanced career advice, advanced goal setting, and those kinds of things, I would never just use one assessment tool. Behavior is a good place to start. We also have talent assessments that are on motivation and what we call driving forces, which are on the energy creators. I always say, you know why you can't motivate people? And they say, no, why not? And I say, because they're already motivated. We all have motivators on the inside of us that create energy. If we don't have an assessment that tells us what those areas are, then we're all just guessing, and we're feeling around in the dark trying to find things that are going to create energy in people. It's much easier to just have an assessment done, and then you know exactly where the energy creation areas are. We also measure skills and competencies. We have a tool in our talent assessment toolbox that measures 25 different skill sets. And most people are pretty proficient at anywhere from 7 to 10 of those 25. Highly skilled individuals could be up to 16 or 17 or even 18 of the 25. That's kind of rare for a person to have that, but there are some very high potential individuals that can go that high. It's really important to know what trajectory your career is headed toward, what skill sets you need to be successful. And most of the time, people are not going to need all 25, but they are going to need somewhere between 7 and 10. And it's good to know what those are, what your current level of proficiency is, and then what's the plan to help you get from where you are today to where you need to be in the skill sets that you need. And so that's valuable. We also have emotional intelligence assessments that measures the 5 key areas of EQ. We use one that's based on the science of axiology, and it's called Acumen Piece. And that is all built around the possible potential and performance of the person today. And we're looking to see how they perceive the outside world, how they perceive their inner world. Self-esteem is part of that. Role awareness is part of that. And so we have a pretty deep toolbox of scientific assessments that we use with people, all with the theme in mind of helping people get better and help people produce more and do a better job and get to where they really want to be as a leader and a manager. But I've got 5 really strong reasons of why you'd want to delve into this data-oriented assessment world where your talent is concerned, and especially where you're concerned. And if you're interested in hearing more, you can contact us at info at clearvisiondevelopment.com, and we'd be happy to set up a meeting with you where we can show you all the tools in our toolbox and help you decide if you need some or all of the tools that we offer. But here are 5 big reasons why you should be using talent assessments in your career and in your business. Number 1, it gives you a job preview, and it's better than an interview. So depending on which one of our assessment tools you use, and if you're a person who is screening candidates, I would highly recommend that we use almost all of our tools, because when you're hiring somebody, turnover is expensive, and the success rate of most employees in a job is really low, and turnover is really high. So one of the ways you can financially affect your business is by reducing turnover and increasing your rate of success on hiring. And assessments can give you a preview of how that person will possibly do on that job. Another tool that we use with our clients is a job benchmark. And so if we set up a job benchmark, which describes all the attributes, all the accountabilities, and all the measures and metrics of that particular job, we then match that with the assessment data of a candidate, and we can see how closely that future candidate may match with that seat on the bus. And so it gives us a job preview of how that person would potentially do, whether they may have a training gap, whether they may have a coaching gap, what the chances of success are for that person. And you usually have typically somewhere between 3 and 5 candidates all trying for the same job. And you'd want to put those people in a ranking of most predictable for success down to the least predictable, which has the most gaps there. And the other thing on this number 1 reason is that it's better than an interview. Well, how could it be better than an interview? Well, because the assessment covers so many areas that you might not even think about asking in a job interview. I sort of chuckle to myself sometimes because people say, well, we use a panel in our interviews. Well, here's why that may or may not be so effective for you. It's because that all people are biased. All human beings have a bias. Assessments are not biased. They are scientifically formulated, and that data is gathered from the candidate. So the only bias that's contained in the assessment is that of the candidate, not of the people who are hiring. And we're all looking through lenses. And so you could be hiring somebody not based on their particular talent, skill, behavior, motivation, or acumen or skill set, but just based on the biases of the interviewers, no matter how many people are involved. So assessments are better than interviews. They're best when they're used in combination, but they are infinitely better than just an interview alone. Number 2 reason why you should be using a talent assessment in your business. You can formulate a SWOT analysis about either a current person, yourself, or a job candidate. So you can create a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities with that person, and also some of the downside with that person, which would begin the threats category. So we do a leadership SWOT with every candidate that we coach and person that we work with. So we can help them identify these 4 quadrants and help them play more to their strengths, mitigate their weaknesses, capitalize on opportunities, and hedge against any threats that may be out there. So with all the data from a talent assessment, you can create this SWOT analysis, highly beneficial, highly valuable tool to use in a person's growth and or development. Number 3 reason why you should be using a talent assessment in your business is that it helps you build and protect your culture. So in every CEO that I coach, they have an accountability that's assigned to their particular job as CEO that revolves around building the culture and protecting the culture. Assessments can help you do that because once you have a particular culture established that you feel is beneficial, and your current workplace climate is pretty good and you've got good positive vibes going on and people enjoy working there, you want to be very careful about the catalysts that you introduce into that culture, namely the people that you hire. So every time you bring a new person into that circle of people who work together, they are going to be a catalyst for molding and shaping that. And you always want to look at their assessment data to see how good a cultural fit they might or might not be, because that can either be a strength to your culture or it could be a possible threat to your culture, depending on what you have set up and what the data in their assessment reveals. After you've worked really, really hard to build and establish a wonderful culture in your business, the last thing you want to do is introduce somebody into it that's going to do damage or tear it down. Reason number 4 why you should be using talent assessments in your business is skills development. Most people are very vague when they describe a skill set or something that a person needs to improve on. They struggle, they stammer over giving examples and having hard evidence and data around that. And we have, as I mentioned earlier, 25 different skills that we've identified that can be used in a business to increase performance and that are very useful and needed, that gives you a numerical data point of current state for a person that you have working in your company. And then you set goals around what their skills need to be. You can put a development program in place for them to increase in those skills, and then take another measurement another 6 months to 9 months down the road, and you can see in hard metrics and data if they've improved those skills that you've identified or not. And it just gives you so much more clarity and so much more dialogue around specifics that you didn't have before, that you can use in the skills development of key people in your organization. Reason number 5 that you need to use talent assessments in your business is very similar to number 4, and that is performance enhancement. And so through a lot of the metrics and data that we collect in some of our assessment tools, we not only can tell you what the possible potential of this person is, we can also tell you at what level of performance they are in today. And we can be very specific on areas that they need enhancement and putting a plan together to help them be higher in developing more of their potential, also being more proficient at execution and getting better results. And a lot of times people don't have a performance plan in place that measures that for people, and then they don't have any tools in place to help with the development of that performance and making their employees better. And that's one key thing that the assessments will do. People don't come like cans of corn in the supermarket where you can turn around the label and see what's all in the corn and what the health benefits are and what the nutrition elements are and how much real food is in there and how much of it is filler. But with our assessment tools, you can do that with people. You can say, wow, this person has a lot of potential, but they're not quite there. And one of the reasons is this, and one of the reasons is this. And here's a strategy we can put in place to help this person get where they need to be from a performance standpoint. So those are the 5 reasons I would give you for using talent assessments in your business. 1, it's a job preview and it's better than an interview. Number 2, you can put together a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats model around that person. Number 3, you can build and protect your culture by making sure you get the right people on the bus and get them in the right seats. Number 4, skills development. When you have the right people on the bus and you have them in the right seats, you can have them working on the right things. And that's what skills development does. You identify the skills that that position needs to be proficient in. You identify the skill set that the person has, and you simply work on a program to close that gap. And then number 5, performance enhancement, getting the full results from the potential that that person has will be very, very successful and gratifying for you, successful, gratifying for the company, and successful and gratifying for that person. If you need help with talent assessments. Go to our website, clearvisiondevelopment.com, to find out more and how to contact us. We'd be happy to set up an appointment to help you do just that. If you'd like to become a subscriber to Better Than Before, it's super easy. And if you wouldn't mind, please leave a 5-star review for us. It helps us in our rankings and it helps us get the show out to more and more people. And I would consider it a personal favor, and you will have done something nice for me if you subscribe and you leave a nice review. We'll see you next time on another edition of Better Than Before. And don't forget, everything gets better when you get better.
Thank you for listening to Better Than Before with Tony Richards, a business leaders podcast powered by Clear Vision Development Group. For more resources from Tony, visit clearvisiondevelopment.com. Join us next time for another episode of Better Than Before with Tony Richards.